Hello everyone, my name is Angelica and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with another episode of DIY anthropology dupes. I've created one of these videos in the past. I will leave the link to it down below, and I really had so much fun doing it. With creating the dupes, I always want to make them as similar to the original ones as I can, and this can be sometimes a bit of challenge. So today I will try to recreate 3 of the products for much less than they actually cost. And with all that being said, let's get right into the first project. As my first project, I will try to recreate this Monica pillow, which costs about £65. I found this cushion cover in charity shop and thought it will work perfect for this project as it already has the stripes as a pattern. Because I'm going to use hot glue to attach the rest of the design, I'm putting a piece of cardboard inside to separate 2 sides of the fabric. To create the fluffy fringe all over the pillowcase, I've cut a long piece of cardboard which is about 25 mm wide. This measurement will determine the length of the fringe, so you can adjust it to your preferences. This project is actually ideal for me as I have plenty of yarn lying in my room. At first I'm going with light cream color. I take one end of the yarn and start wrapping it around my cardboard piece. I try to secure the end so it doesn't unravel. I keep the yarn tight, trying not to wrap it multiple times in one place. Once I achieve the length I need, I cut the yarn off. And as I've mentioned before, I will be using hot glue to attach the yarn to the fabric. You can use a fabric rule or even sew it if you can. I go with the glue along the cardboard's edge, all the way from beginning to the end, putting even layer of it. Then I turn it and glue it to the fabric. I press it down and hold for a few seconds, making sure the glue set. Using scissors, I cut the yarn. You can see the fringe appears. I swap the scissors for some slimmer ones as the yarn is wrapped quite tight and it was hard using the normal scissors. I make sure all the pieces are sticking and cut off any which are longer than the rest. Following the design from Anthropologie pillow, I create another piece of fringe. I know this is not exactly same kind of fringe as on the original piece, but this is the closest I could get. The fringe is almost made out of thread when I use much thicker yarn, but I think the result is still pretty good. With each part of the design, I start with the edges and then fill the inside. I leave about 15 mm gap between each row. Then I also blend some other colors to the design. The cardboard becomes quite soft after using it for a while, but you can always change it for a new one in the same size. I also try to follow the color palette from the Anthropologie pillow as I really like it, but sometimes I run out of that color yarn, so I had to use something instead. Put the filler inside the cover and your Anthropologie dupe pillow is ready. In my case, it cost me probably less than £5. I had all of the materials already at home. It obviously took me a good couple of hours to do it, but it can be easily done while watching TV. This project is actually from my previous Easter video. When I saw this egg crate on Anthropologie website, I remembered that I've created something very similar before. My tray will be just slightly smaller than the one from the shop. As a mold for my egg tray, I will be using empty egg carton box. I start with cutting off the sides and the lid of my box. The middle parts of the box are sticking out more than the rest. So to make it all even, I take knife and just cut them down. Knife with locks makes this cutting much easier and also doesn't squeeze the cardboard too much. Now it's all nicely cut to the same level. I take Das air dry clay, which is the clay I usually go for. There was a few questions in my previous videos about the clay I use, so this is the one. I will also leave the link to it in the description box. I take big piece of this clay and start kneading it between my hands. Using rolling pin, I roll the clay flat to the same thickness, which in this case is about 7 mm. I roughly measure the size of the clay I need and then cut it out. I take my piece of clay and place it on top of the cardboard. I cut out the excess clay and start giving the wanted shape to this clay. Clay is quite fragile, especially thin like this one, so I have to be very gentle with pushing it down. The process of molding this clay was actually harder than I thought it will be. I focus on small parts at a time, making sure the clay fits nicely. Help of damp sponge and tissue allow me to create nice and smooth dents. In some places there was too much clay, so I've cut it out and smoothed the surface out. Just visualize the final effect and work on the soft clay to achieve this look. It's much easier to fix any imperfections now rather than when the clay is dry. Once you are happy with its look, leave it like this till fully dry. After 2 days of drying, the clay is now hard and ready to be painted. I press slightly the carton and let the tray slide off. I use sanding paper to smooth out the edges. Using white paint, I cover the whole egg tray. And to add more details on it, I create the splash brush effect using black paint. Protect it with any kind of varnish, ideally use non-toxic one. It's not only great decoration for Easter, you can use it all year round in your kitchen for displaying and organizing the eggs. With projects like this candle holder, I always try to separate it into smaller parts and sections. I've looked around my house and found these items to create the whole construction. I have old candle lid, which now will play a role of my new candle holder base. I have copper pipe, which fits the candle perfectly, and thick cardboard roll, which we'll use to create small circles on the side of the holder. I start with measuring how long I want my pipe to be, and then using special pipe cutter I cut it to this size. I turn it around till the pipe is cut all the way through. Because the end of the pipe is very thin, so it will be almost impossible to stick it to the base. Especially it has to be quite solid to be able to hold the candle and don't fall over. I've decided to push piece of wood inside it. I took thick enough branch and using hammer I banged it in it. Now I can easily attach it to the base. You can glue it, but I'm going for more secure way and I'm going to screw this together. I made small hole in my metal lid which will help me to put the screw through it. I didn't make hole in the wood as my power tool is strong enough to just do it like that. Screw inside the wood expanded it a little bit, which makes it even tighter and more secure. This is my way of making this candle holder. I understand you might not have pipe cutter or power tools, but use anything what you already have. Play around with it and I'm sure you will work something out. And to create 5 rings to put on the side of the candle holder, I'm using a cardboard roll. Again, use anything what you have and what you can make circle shapes out of. I'm using hand saw to cut them all to the same thickness and then using sanding block I slightly sand it down. And this time to attach them all, I'm using hot glue. 1 circle at a time, trying to put them in straight line. Before the final painting, I give it a quick spray using white primer. I've mixed brown and red acrylic paint to achieve the terracotta shade. And to create the texture like on the original piece, I'm adding baking soda to the paint. Once I've painted it and it's dried, I wasn't 100% happy with the texture. So off the camera I painted it again, but this time I've added sand to the paint. Baking soda is good for more like a ceramic effect. This time I wanted to achieve almost a rough texture and sand doesn't dissolve in paint like baking soda does. I'm quite happy with the result, came out almost same as the original. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about these projects and how they came out. Do they look as good as the original pieces or would you still rather buy them from the shop? And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give a thumb up and subscribe to my channel for more DIY projects. Also, check out my Instagram and follow if you like. Let's hit that 1000 followers mark, which seems to be impossible for me. I will try to be more active there if I can see that you enjoy the content. And for now, thank you so much for watching, your support, and I will see you in my next video.